Good afternoon. Welcome to the Thurston County Board of County Commissioners Superior Court update hearing or briefing meeting for Wednesday, February 16th, 2022. It is 1:02 p.m. My name is Ty Menser, Vice Chair of the Commission. Our Chair, Carolina Mejia. Commissioner Mejia is excused today. We have Commissioner Gary Edwards, County Manager Ramiro Chavez, Assistant County Manager Robin Campbell, our presiding judge of Superior Court, Judge Mary Sue Wilson, and our Superior Court Administrator, Misty Robeson. So public can follow along on the Thurston County YouTube channel where this meeting is being live streamed. And there is also a conference call option at 360-252-9020 with the PIN being 1234. The agenda today is open. As per usual, really just touching base on whatever issues need to be discussed between the board and Superior Court. So I guess I'll just ask Judge Wilson what she would like us to know, or if there's any questions or topics she'd like to report on.
Sure. I could provide an overview on operations. Everybody but Misty was on the elected officials meeting an hour ago, and it would be somewhat overlap, but since we might have additional audience, would that be helpful to talk about operations?
Sounds good. Thank you.
So many of you know, but some may not, that since the fourth week of December of last year, the Superior Court has had jury trials suspended. That was in response to our public health officer's recommendations in light of the Omicron variant's case numbers in the county. Because the case numbers have declined, not to all the way to where we hope to see them, but to the point of anticipating that we can run jury trials protecting our jurors and members of the public and participants. We will resume jury trials on February 28th. Because of public health restrictions, we continue to be able to run only 2 jury trials at a time in the 2 large courtrooms that we have. Historically, pre-pandemic, we could run about 4 given our courtrooms and our judge capacity. The reason for only 2 is related to the spacing that we adhere to presently, and that's 6 feet distancing between people as we select juries and as we run jury trials. We're hopeful as conditions, case numbers further improve that we can look at running more than 2 jury trials at a time. The running of jury trials is important for addressing our backlog of trials in both the criminal and civil jury trial setting. While we have had jury trials suspended for the last 2 months, we have been attending to other work. We've been tackling the family law backlog. Our main campus judges have heard a number of family law cases, parenting plan cases, dependency cases, and juvenile offender cases. We've also been training 2 new judges who completed state judicial college and are hearing criminal calendars and beginning to hear bench trials. And when jury trials resume, they will be assigned jury trials as well. So that's a good report. We're optimistic about March and expanding the scope of our trial work. But I can't emphasize enough that we have a bottleneck brought to us by the COVID virus in terms of protecting public health, spreading people out in the courtroom, and therefore not being at an operational level that we were pre-pandemic. But we're hopeful that as the year moves forward, we'll be able to expand. We have secured from the commissioners a position called our COVID program manager position, which we are presently recruiting for and hope to have somebody in that position in March. And that position will help us develop systems and calendars and space needs for maximizing the use of our space and judicial officers to get through our backlog, both our backlog in jury and non-jury trials, as well as other work. And we look forward to working with that program manager and with stakeholders and other participants to develop the system that will work well and continue to protect public health. We're recruiting people to a number of open positions, including involuntary treatment act case coordinator, domestic violence case coordinator, a judicial assistant position, the COVID program manager I mentioned. And sad for us, our program or our court administrator is taking a position in Pierce County District Court. She's here with us today. And so we'll be announcing a recruitment process for replacing our court administrator. I do want to recognize that this is a huge loss, a good move for Misty, but obviously hard for us. She's been super supportive in her time here, helping with implementing our COVID policies, implementing support of our employees in a number of ways, including making sure that we were on top of evaluations and other support, operations during very difficult times, the recent jury trial suspension, as well as weather events and power events. Perhaps most significantly, she's really helped us develop a strategic view of approaching our operations. We had a 2-day judges meeting the week before last, and we came up with some principles to focus our efforts to support excellence in the courts, in our operations, and in our support of employees, and to keep our eye on what is the most important work so that we don't get distracted by the challenges of the day or the challenges of the week. And a big highlight is that she really helped the judges articulate that we need to continue to support our staff so that our staff have the resources that they need and are not put on the recurring challenges that the last 2 years has brought to every workplace. So we really appreciate Misty's support and focus in her time here. She's really moved us forward, and we will miss her. A couple of data points of interest that I got from Administrative Office of the Court statewide on the backlog. They just generated a February 22 report. In terms of active pending caseload, at the end of 2021, statewide, the pending caseload is 46% plus what our numbers were before the pandemic. I don't have the specific Thurston County numbers. I hope to have those the next time I give a report, but that gives us a snapshot of the challenges that we're facing and the efforts that we're hoping to see success on with the assistance of our new position. In terms of statewide, the time for criminal cases pending in the system for longer than 9 months has increased since the pandemic by 42%. And the number of civil cases pending for longer than 24 months has increased. I don't have a percentage, but by almost 12,000 cases. Those are statewide numbers, but that's kind of a magnitude pick or look. And then, of course, one other figure you've heard a lot and that we are trying to get ready for and develop systems to approach is that there are 2,000 uncharged pending referrals at the Thurston County Prosecutor's Office on felonies. And the prosecuting attorney's office has a plan for reviewing those in batches. But as any of those are charged, they will add to the backlog as those are referrals that have been pending since March of 2020. We're super excited to have the new judges on board. And as I indicated, training's complete. They're in the courtroom. Judges Thomas and Judge Zip, they each bring background that's incredibly useful and also different from the experiences of the judges already here. And so that's made for a really robust and I think creative, sometimes new approaches to the work of the court. And that's really healthy for our organization. So that about summarizes my highlights. Misty, is there anything you would add to the court overview for this month?
I think that is a good highlight. Yeah, I think that's all.
Happy to answer any questions that anybody has.
Commissioner Edwards.
The judge did such a good job about 20 minutes ago that I've heard it twice, and by golly, Judge, you did great. Thank you very much, and I don't have any questions.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Yeah, this is my third time because we had our one-on-one here a couple days ago. So getting a lot of good Superior Court time. But I did have a question. When you threw out that first number, 46%, I didn't quite understand what that represented.
Okay, so it's a statewide time to disposition for criminal cases. And it kind of goes off of the question that I got from Steve Drew of the speedy trial issue. And of course, speedy trial has a lot of layers of complexity, but statewide, the number of criminal cases in the system for longer than 9 months since before the pandemic has increased by 42%. So it tells us that we have people waiting for their criminal trials for a longer time. That's not a number that is everybody's held in custody. But I want to get you for Thurston County what those numbers are, because you all know that pre-pandemic, we had spent several years really working hard at having realistic times to trial and holding the parties to those times so that we didn't have individuals who were pending very serious charges in the jail for extended periods of time. So 9 months is one of the benchmarks. We have people who are in custody for 2 years. I can give you some additional Thurston County numbers in terms of trials set to begin, criminal trials set to begin a week from Monday, the first day we restart jury trials. We have 116 cases on the confirmation calendar tomorrow. And 65 of those are in custody defendants. That means they're held in custody pending trial. 2 of those 65 cases were filed in 2019 and 9 were filed in 2020. So that's 11 out of 65 that are more than a year old. Now, occasionally the numbers don't tell the whole story. Somebody might have been out of custody and then ended up in custody after the case started. So don't assume all of those are in custody the entire time period. But those are not good numbers when you talk about case processing for criminal cases.
Okay. So it's taking 46% more time for a case to get to trial in the criminal statewide. That was the first stat.
I think that's a fair way to look at it.
Okay. Okay. County Manager, any questions for Judge Wilson or Misty?
No, I don't. I just want to wish Misty good luck. You will certainly be missed in the short time, as I mentioned in my email. I learned to appreciate everything you have brought to Thurston County. Big loss for Thurston County and big win for Pierce County, I guess. So thank you and good luck.
Robin, anything?
I just want to say how much I appreciate the data, especially related to the court backlog, because that is exactly the kind of information that we need to be able to report to the feds on a regular basis. So that's going to give us a really good foundation for showing that this was a significant issue, a real need for the use of the money. And then as we report going forward, it's just going to be great to have. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. Thank you. We'll keep doing that.
Judge, in your report, you mentioned, you made passing reference to ITA case coordinator, and I think you said DV case coordinator. Are those new positions?
No, they're vacant positions.
Vacant positions. Okay.
Yes. And they have different funding sources. The ITA is from BHO, and the DV, I believe, is partly TST. And so what those positions do is they support a focused area of work. Those positions are really valuable because the case coordinator manages the cases, for instance, for DV cases in both buildings, tracking compliance and helping the court bring people back to court if they're not in compliance, for instance, with a court-ordered requirement to be evaluated for domestic violence perpetrator and treatment. So really valuable. We've just had turnover. So those are positions we're in the process of filling.
Okay, great. So thank you. I didn't quite catch that. Those are open. Okay, well, anything else before we adjourn? Give everybody a little gift of time here. All right, thank you to Judge Wilson. Thank you, Misty. Thank you to Commissioner, and we are adjourned.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Good luck.